So I was casually watching the World Finals this year when I overheard the announcers talking about a telecom war that was happening within the finals.
I'm still flabbergasted that we have a telecom war in the grand finals at worst.
And this isn't something new, as Korean teams have been duking it out for the top spot since basically the conception of the World Finals. Even in recent years, China has been a close second, winning back-to-back World Finals in 2018 and 2019. Why is the East so good at League of Legends? To answer this, let's take a look back at the first World Championship.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Almia Convention Center.
The 2011 Season 1 Grand Finals were held in Jönköping, Sweden, where two European teams met in the finals, competing in a best-of-3. Those teams were Team Fnatic, a popular EU team known to many for their performance in a variety of other esports, whose opponent, Against All Authority, was a French team that disbanded 8 years later.
Fnatic going to win the Season 1 championship if they can hold on. This Nexus will go down. Congratulations to Fnatic winning the Season 1.
Fnatic ended up clinching the game in a decently convincing fashion. Not only that, they had a pretty uncontested run throughout the playoff period, beating nearly every opponent in a decisive manner. However, if you take a close look at the bracket, you may notice something among the teams. There isn't a single one of them that's from Asia. That's because League of Legends didn't release in Korea until December of 2011, almost 3 years after the game's initial release in 2009. As for China, they were coming off the StarCraft 2 train, easily being one of the nation's most competitive esports. You see, for China, the popularity of a game comes from its competitive appeal, and after the success that stemmed from the Season 1 finals, it was only a matter of time until China went all in on this new game. China as a nation pushed resources towards esports as there's a drastic difference in view towards video games when compared to the United States. China's administration of sports recognized esports as an official sport. Not only that, but the esports profession has been recognized within the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security. The market here is large, from a plethora of organizations and tournaments to the normalization of video game dedication in the real world. And it reflects their success on the world stage. The same thing goes for Korea. The country also has an esport-friendly market. Not only that, but actually incentivizes improvement at video games. As in League of Legends, if you reach a certain rank, a team will actually reach out to you and ask you to join the team. It's not like the United States where you gotta make a name for yourself. These countries have a structured system that motivates and incentivizes winning and improvement. Esports is seen as a career in these countries, a real one. In the United States, being a professional gamer is viewed as an unrealistic dream adjacent to a content creator, rather than a skilled profession. They have infrastructure that supplements these careers. Not only that, China is home to the world's largest gaming company, Tencent, which actually owns Riot Games. This culture that China has created certainly seems to be the reason why they dominate the esports scene. But it is rather odd considering one of the major drawbacks.
Regulators in China have imposed restrictions on online video gaming, stopping anyone under the age of 18 from playing more than 3 hours a week.
China has a game hour restriction for those under 18. In 2019, the Chinese government restricted gaming hours for minors to an hour and a half on weekdays and 3 hours on weekends. Then, in 2021, the Chinese government doubled down, implementing an additional law restricting minors' game time to just 3 hours a week. The law's intention was to prevent video game addiction and preserve mental health, which, while important in terms of competitive esports, curbs the population's ability to improve, meaning minors aren't getting the chance to get better at League. Korea had a similar law implemented in 2011 called the Cinderella Law, which prevented gaming between midnight and 6 a.m., which tends to be big hours of gaming for minors, especially on weekends. While this law was appealed 10 years later in 2021, it didn't really seem to stop them from winning, either of the countries. How is it that these countries that have these regulations are still stomping the competitive scene? It could be that these regulations are actually a positive thing, especially with the coupled positive culture and infrastructure. With a reduced amount of hours and an actual end goal, these gamers could actually be using their game time in a more intentional manner rather than just playing the game. When we try to improve, at least in my experience, you hop into a ranked game and in theory, you improve over time. But when you only have a limited amount of time and you have a goal you want to reach that's feasible given the structure, you're going to be more dedicated to the cause. The gamers in China and Korea are probably more intentional with their playtime, as they only have so much time to play and they have incentives to do it. I mean, in Korea, if you're a professional gamer, you're excused from the nationwide mandatory military service, which is an incentive for sure. It really goes to show how important the culture of gaming is for the professional scene. When we look at the culture of esports, especially in these countries, they're geared towards competitive play. Not only is China home to the world's largest gaming company that we mentioned earlier, it's home to the world's largest esport fan base. And looking at some graphs, it's not even close. When we look at global statistics for viewership, Asia Pacific accounts for well over 50% of the viewers. With 57%, it's clear they care way more about esports than every other location. Granted, keep in mind that China has a population of over 1 billion people, with over 50% of the population being male, and gaming and esports is in fact a male-dominated field, so in a way, it's hard to compare these stats. But esports in these countries also appeals to the female demographic more. The Chinese and Korean percentage of female viewers is notably higher than the rest of the world, with some indicating that over a third of their viewership is from women, when globally it's just 22%. Other significant factors such as COVID-19 for starters. The global pandemic caused countries to enforce quarantines, which incentivized people to use the internet more, boosting the esports community and market. If we dive even deeper and look at the stats for T1, one of the most dominant teams in League of Legends, the Korean team, statistics show that almost half their fan base is from China. And this fan base is only growing. For reference, that match I mentioned at the beginning of this video, that finals match had 1.5 million peak viewers. The 2025 finals had over 6.9 million. That's a lot. Even viewership is going way up. Not only is League of Legends arguably the hardest popular esports, it faces monetary issues in the United States when compared to other games, with games like Counter-Strike 2 and Fortnite having a much larger monetary scene. And there's the potential to make more money in these games even if you're not a professional gamer. Being a streamer or content creator earns you more money than being a professional gamer in some instances. And some of these creators are extremely talented at their game. They pursue this route because it may be easier and more profitable. China doesn't really have this luxury, where Twitch isn't available to the population. Korea has been in a similar situation for almost 2 years now, when they shut down Twitch in their country due to operating costs. These lack of content creator options, coupled with the infrastructure and positive culture surrounding esports, could help funnel gamers into pursuing being a professional gamer in their countries. Until we adapt in the same way, it may be a while until we get a USA World Championship victory. Regardless, I'll be waiting and cheering until we do. Hey y'all, thanks again for watching. I'm trying to be more consistent with my post and stream schedule, so make sure you subscribe and follow the Twitch for when I do post. Also, let me know if there's any video that y'all want to see, or an idea that you have, or even if there's a different game you want to see me stream. Peace.